The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, City of Bellingham, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36321. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. We'll be starting at the front bumper area. On the angled area of the front bumper, you'll find 2 emergency warning lights on the passenger and driver side. Just inside that location on the passenger side, you'll find a front inlet. Moving toward the center, you'll find dual air horns. Located directly in the center, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up on top of the bumper extension, you'll find 2 closed tow hooks located and protruding through the top section of the bumper. As we move toward the center, you'll find a tubbed storage location for hose storage. Moving to the driver's side, you'll find an additional tubbed storage for hose storage. And next to that, you'll find a swivel 1.5-inch discharge. Let's move up onto the cab face, where you'll find on the outer edges a turn indicator marker light. Just inside of that location, you'll find the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam located on the inside will be the high beam. Just above that, you'll find 2 emergency warning lights forward facing. As we move up to the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. You'll find mirrors housing a flat and convex mirror. On the passenger side, you'll find a downward facing convex mirror. And across the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance lights. Directly in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. As we move up onto the roof of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a look at some images of the full side of the vehicle. We'll move now specifically to the cab area. Then we'll take a look at the full side of the passenger side. Same thing with the cab area and then body area. Let's go back to the front bumper, take a look at some close-ups of the items that we just talked about. First, starting with the bumper extension. Emergency warning lights, side facing, front inlet. Let's take a look at the tubbed storage location for hose storage in the center area, dry deck material inside, Velcro tie down. As we move to the driver's side, Velcro tie down, dry deck material, and your 1.5-inch swivel front discharge. There is a drain just located underneath the front bumper area for your front discharge. Let's go ahead and move now into the driver's space. First, let's start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety and warning placard information. Combination of a door lock and latch. Moving upward, you'll find the electric window control for all 4 cab windows and a grab handle. As we move down to the step well area, you'll find recessed an air inlet. There is also a function valve for your air shutoff, and then also an air outlet. Let's move up to the base of the seat. When plugged into Shoreline power, your auto charge system will be activated, charging your batteries. As we move to about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find these warning placards, in addition with this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating and cold tire inflation, VIN number, fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and fluid capacity type. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find your mechanical siren. As we move to the left knee, you'll find your master battery switch, tech module, engine transmission ABS diagnostic port, ABS diagnostics DPF regen switch, engine diagnostic switch, and regen inhibit switch. Moving just to the opposite side of the column, you'll find cab locks not engaged indicator, mirror heat, and a load manager. When any of these switches are engaged, the green light will illuminate around the outer edge of the switch. You do have additional future switch locations if you are needed. As we move to right knee of the operator, you'll find your pump shift. These instructions here are from road to pump, and then on the opposite side you'll find from pump to road. Just a reminder, you need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, when exiting the cab for pump operations. On the steering wheel you'll have emergency functions, emergency lights, and siren control. You also have a vehicle equipped with supplemental restraint system. There is an airbag located within inside the steering column. Moving to the dash cluster on the left, you'll find your ignition and start switch, also a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This engages or disengages all emergency lights. Headlight switch and a panel rocker switch. To the right, you'll find your high idle indicator and also switch to engage the high idle. As we move to the gauges, you'll find your transmission oil depth level and also water temp. On the right side, you'll find fuel, volts, front air, and rear air. Directly in the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right of the operator. You'll find first the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It is the yellow diamond. Just to the right of that, you'll find your Allison transmission pad, digital readout. And then as we move upward, you'll find the Pierce command zone, a tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Not only are there command buttons at the lower section, the screen is also a touch screen. See your owner's manual for more information about this device. As we move downward, you'll find your engine brake on and off switch, setting switch for that engine brake for low, medium, and high, an auto start, tire chains, diff lock, and low intensity emergency lights. Moving down to the Allison transmission pad, we do have a note to pump in drive. As we move up for climate control, heat, air conditioning, and also defrost are located here. Looking overhead, you'll find the yellow placard located on the left side. This is a placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 9 feet 7 inches, length 30 feet 7.25 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 42,000 pounds. We also have a emergency master, roof light, front warning, and side warning. Lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and your Opticom switch. Moving just to the right, an additional set of switches housing front flood, driver's side flood, passenger side flood, rear flash, driver's alley, passenger's alley, and backup alarm override. Moving further to the right, you'll find your traffic advisor. As we continue to the right, you'll also find your electronic siren and PA speaker module. As we move to the center, you'll find a do not move your apparatus when this light is on, indicating you have a compartment or door open. As we move directly behind the seat, you'll find your audible speaker. This is for your backup camera. There is volume control on the speaker face. When plugged into Shoreline power, this will maintain your battery charger and air compressor. Let's move to the exterior. On the driver's side, where you'll find your Shoreline inlet. As we move downward, you'll find Alcoa wheel, Michelin tires, and a visual sight gauge for your front axle. As we move to the rear compartment of the cab, there are red grab handles at the hinge point for gaining access in and out. Also a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard, window control, door lock, and latch. We have 2 rear-facing seats. As we look toward the top section, you'll find push on and off white or red lamp lenses. Also storage locations overhead, LED lights in this area. As we move to the center console at the rear, you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access for your daily checks for oil and transmission. As we move to the rear cab wall, you'll also find seats located on the rear cab wall and also a compartment located with netting and lighting inside. Let's go ahead and move now to the exterior. We'll start with identifying things within the pump panel area, starting at the very top section. D-handle gains us access into this compartment. We do have an entanglement hazard warning placard because of those lines coming from aloft and the possibility of entanglement. Reel blowdown, engine cooler, and recirculating line. These are both twist. Let's move just to the right of this location. 2 master gauges, pump intake and pump discharge. Just above that, you'll find your vacuum and pressure test gauge port. It's currently plugged, and these are for testing purposes. As you move to the very top, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule, which we'll go over in just a few moments. Moving further down, you'll find your panel lights and also additional switches, and also to the far right side, a pump indicator indicating OK to pump. As we move down from this location, you'll find electric valves. This is for your front inlet, and then also passenger side. As we move to the right, you'll find the intake relief valve. This is adjustable, and there are instructions on the face of the placard. To the right, you'll find your thermal relief valve. It does have a visual indicator and also an audible alarm. Also, driver main inlet electric valve. As we move to the right, you'll find your tank fill. Moving further to the right, we're going to find your pressure throttle governor, and then also within that pressure throttle governor, you'll find a water tank level indicator. You also have an audible alarm just under the tank fill that does allow you to dampen the sound by just rotating the outer edge of the bezel. As we move down, we do have a warning placard here, also indicating that if you're going to climb onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing onto it. Down in the lower right is where you'll find your tank to pump. You also have 2 primes, first for your front intake and then also your main pump prime. We do have a visual indicator also indicating 1,000 RPMs for best practices. Also, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after you received proper training. As we move down, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled ball valve, 2.5-inch female. Also a warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. And then to the right, the red placard is your wattress placard indicating the capacity of your pump, 1,500 GPM. To the right, you'll find your main pump drain, and then down below that, you're going to find your manual pump shift. Also instructions on the minimum operation maintenance schedule to the left, and then all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's go ahead and go back to that red placard here. You do have a pump model CSU, once again, 1,500 GPM. Back to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI in the center of the placard. To the left, the associated GPM at that test pressure, and on the right, the associated RPM at test pressure. Governed RPM while pumping is 2,400 RPM. As we move downward just below the running board, you'll find the reel rewind. This is a foot pedal switch for your booster reel. As we move up to the compartments now, we'll go through those: LED lighting and also dry deck material, adjustable shelving, and ventilation. Also, you'll find at the very bottom section here, this tray pulls out and does lock into position, releases on the lower right. There is SCBA bottle storage for 4 bottles on this side, 2 in front of the axle and 2 to the rear with retaining straps. This compartment houses 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. It's the blue cap. Let's move downward to the rear axle. Once again, Alcoa wheel and Michelin tires. Back up to the SCBA bottle storage. This also contains your fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel. It's the silver cap. Let's go ahead and move to the rear compartment, adjustable shelf, and also an SCBA holder. Moving now, all compartments open. You can see the folding wheel chock location in front of and rear of the axle. As we move to the rear compartments, identifying items within this area, let's start in the upper left. First, starting with a long through compartment accessed from the rear. Moving just to the right on the hose storage cover is where you'll find your backboard storage. As we move down, you'll find your rear scene lights and also hose bed lights. Moving further to the rear, I'd like to point out a few warning placards here. pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. Also fall hazard, never ride on the apparatus while it is in motion. And then also lastly, I like to point out, while climbing onto the apparatus, make sure that you face the vehicle while climbing. As we move to the right, we have once again that pressure warning and then all of our discharges located at the very top section, color-coded and labeled. As we move to the right further, we have an additional entanglement hazard because those lines coming from aloft, also a recessed backup camera. As we move to the bottom at the rear section of the apparatus and the top, this is going to be your power supply for the rear of the apparatus. As we move to the upper right, once again through a compartment heading toward the front of the cab area, and then also ladder storage. You can see at the top 10-foot folding, 24-foot roof, 14-foot roof, and then also we have additional pike pole storage location. All compartments open now on the passenger side. Let's take a look in some of those compartments. Starting at the rear, you'll find dry deck material, LED lighting, and adjustable shelving and ventilation. As we move to the front and rear of the axle, SCBA bottle storage, retaining straps for those SCBA bottle storage locations. Moving once again to the rear axle, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel. As we move back up into the compartment area, this is SCBA bottles for 3 in addition with retaining straps. Would like to point out this warning placard, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move inside this compartment, you'll find when plugged into Shoreline power, we do have an additional outlet in this compartment. Let's go ahead and move forward to this location to the midsection of the apparatus. We'll start at the very top section. There is a booster line at the very top section and also a shelf that you can stand on. It does have markings indicating the walking surface edge for safety. Once again, through compartment for our crosslays. As we look through, we do have a couple warning placards indicating entanglement hazard because of those lines coming from aloft. Also, folding steps must be up in the up position before raising the cab. Just below that, you'll find your cab lift module. There are instructions and also a caution and danger label. Instructions here for raise and lower. Also, once again, fall injury, always face the vehicle while climbing onto the vehicle and never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Let's move downward from this location. We'll identify a few discharges on this side. First, let's start on the left-hand side with the large diameter pump inlet. It is the Pierce American flag Eagle logo. Also, warning placard, pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. Moving to the right, you'll find your large diameter discharge. And then moving further to the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. Let's go down to the very bottom section just above the running board where you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains for this side of the pump panel. Now let's move into the pan door, which is located on the right. This is going to be accessed behind the pump panel. As we move just underneath the running board, you'll find a reel rewind and then also additional drain. As we move toward the cab area, we're in the rear section of the cab. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch in addition with electric window control and a grab handle. As we look overhead, you'll find push on or off white or red lenses and your air conditioning unit. We do have fold down seats located on the rear wall on the passenger and driver side. In the forward section, you'll find additional storage location, same as we have on the driver's side as we do on the passenger side. As we move now to the front axle, once again, Michelin and Alcoa wheel and a visual sight gauge. Let's move inside the cab section. First, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, also window control, and a grab handle. Your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system airbag in the front section of the vehicle. We do have a warning placard, do not mount anything within this area. Also, we have a parking brake located in the upper right-hand side, and down at the very bottom section, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. As we move to the left of the operator seat, you're going to find, officer seat, you're going to find your air horn activation button, also 12 volt via USB style. As we move toward the center, once again, climate control, heat, air conditioning, and defrost. 12 volt access via USB style. Looking overhead, push on and off white or red lens. Let's take a look at some of the switch panels here. First, we have front flood, driver side flood, passenger side flood, rear flood, driver's alley, a siren brake for the mechanical siren, and then also a passenger alley. Moving further to the right, you'll find your FireComm module. Just underneath the vertical surface here, you'll find your wireless base station for your FireComm headset system. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, hosebed cover, we have two dividers located in the rear. Also hatch compartments housing LED lighting and also dry deck material. Let's go ahead and take a look at the walking surface here. We do have identifiers indicating the edge of the walking surface for firefighter safety. As we move to the dunnage area, you'll find the top fill location for your water tank. Moving forward of the dunnage area is where you'll find your booster line and then also your master stream device. As we move to the master stream device, it does have an extended gun available and capable of raising above the cab area. As we move to the booster line, you'll find a free tension spool, and then also you'll find a manual rewind location, the location to insert a tool for manual rewind. The deluge discharge does have a cover over the electric valve. Once the cover has been raised, it exposes the on-off switch for that master stream device. As we move to the cab, just as a reminder, this is a non-walking surface. That's why we have these placards indicating that for firefighter safety. The next set of images are going to be of the chassis area, just to help firefighters identify certain items within the cab area and also within the chassis. Your vehicle is equipped with a TAC 4 suspension. When the cab section is up, you can see the retaining bar in its position now. This should be utilized when anyone is operationally working under the cab area for safety. Congratulations, City of Bellingham, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36321. If you have any questions in regards to your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.